Okay, so last thing I did was I brought in this mountain to make up for something that was kind of missing in my composition, which was on this back line, it gets so faint that I thought maybe another dramatic peak would help transition into the sky. So this will do just a really quick review of how you bring an element in. I brought it in as a smart element. I got it from Pixabay, and this is the actual size of it, so I don't want to enlarge it from there because then it would lose its quality. I'm going to do a rough cutout, trying to use a lot of overlap. I love all this ocean. This frozen ocean can be helpful, so I'll use that as an overlap as much as possible. And then some of this might be useful as well. I don't know how much. And then I've lassoed around what I want, so now I hit Command J. And I duplicate it. That rasterizes it for me. I can move that using Command left bracket down through my layers. Kind of tuck it. There it is, those little peaks. I could do it that way, or I could do it above this layer. And I think I actually prefer this because I like the water line being way up high. Because then we have like a horizon issue here. Let me see, where is that horizon line? Yeah, because it's up here, over there, and down there. So we can also tweak it a little bit. If I keep that horizon, that would mean I'd have to alter this just slightly. Move it up a little bit. There we go. Until that horizon line makes more sense. So just slight alteration. And because it's all organic material and I didn't distort it much at all, that works just fine. But it will require me to erase out from it with my large eraser, 100% opacity, 0% hardness, but very large, probably about 900 or so. And I'll turn off my new layer so it doesn't disturb what I'm trying to do right now. And there's my misty clouds. Cut into them with this ghosting a little bit. And that's working nicely. That horizon line's working nicely. And then I should be able to use that to help cover this one up as well. See right there, it's going to erase that out slightly. So I can keep, let's see, I don't want to do that. Okay. So it can get confusing at this point which layer is which. So I have that hole there I'll need to fix. But now I'm going to bring in my new mountain. There it is. If I put it on top, there's a lot that can overlap. So I might make use of that and start with that big 100% opacity eraser again, just like so. And I'm going to do this little trick before I erase too much from it, and I can go to my smart layer for this. I'm going to take a big patch of this ocean and use it to help me out. Duplicate it, so now it's a new layer, and move that over here, cover up behind these trees, and maybe just distort it a little bit, and move that behind. And then I'm roughly going to cut out these trees. So if you've ever patched jeans that have a hole in them, this is the same sort of thing we're doing. We're just trying to find little places that are weak in terms of their visual information and put something stronger behind them. So I'm going to duplicate that and bring it up above so that I can have the ocean behind, and that will just help seam this area. Because it's little details, especially when they get printed out, that are going to really bug you. All right. Now I have auto select for layer on, so if I ever get confused how to select a layer, I know exactly where to go. I can move that as far behind as I dare, just about to there. And then I can start erasing out. I'm going to shrink my brush a little bit, but still keep it really to about 500. Still keep it really, really soft, using kind of the edge of it, like so. And ghosting. And once I get the hard edge off, then I can go to lower opacities. Once that really crisp, clean cut edge is gone. And I'm using my tablet, so I have pressure sensitivity here, which helps a lot, allows me to go a lot faster. That edge does not want to go away. Why is that? There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to even a smaller brush. Still at 100% opacity, but now I can put a little bit more pressure right on this hard edge. It's hanging on for dear life. And cut around the mountain peak a little bit more. And then this blue needs to go away. Now I can do that with the magic wand, but I'll lose that softness. And since this is in the background, with atmospheric perspective, you want it to be softer. So now that everything is soft and I just want to get rid of some of this blue, I can go to a lower opacity eraser, which makes it so I don't get rid of everything, so I can leave some of this mistiness in the sky. And then I want to treat the other mountains as well that way. Right there. Nope, not that. That's where layer select comes in. This one. Get rid of these little lingering blues as well. Now, how else can I sink this mountain in? Whoops, wrong layer. Besides just erasing from the edges, I can play with its levels, its colors, and its color belt in its hue saturation. So start with levels. It's pretty good, but it might be a little bright, so I'm going to dim its highlights. Might even dim its shadows just a touch, and then I can play with the midtone slider. It's basically decontrasting it because it's in the background there. Then I can go to color ballots, my favorite. Play with its temperature, maybe give it a little bit, I was going to say a little bit more cyan, but you push it back and forth, you see what it needs, and it seems like it's just about right on. With highlights, I'll warm them up just very slightly. Yep, that's feeling good. And then with shadows, maybe warm those up as well. Okay, so did those make any difference? Yes, indeed. Knocks that back nicely. Then, if I need to do spot checks, again, this is kind of a review of things we've done. I can use dodge and burn just to burn in these highlights here, which are showing underneath this other layer. So, find my burn tool, midtones, an exposure that's probably around 15 or so. And I'm just going to try to darken them up. See how it's reacting just to my pin stroke. That works well. Then I can decide, you know what, I do need a little bit more cyan in my midtones now. Maybe in my, oh, that was a little late. A little blue. There we go. And now I can work on this edge that's above it, because this is the hole, this weird little thing I had to bring the mountain in to help with. So I'm going to use my soft edge 100% eraser there to get rid of that really hard edge. And once I've softened the edge, then I can go for lower opacities and kind of blend it in a little bit more believably. It's helping. This is helping. This horizon line I'm kind of making up and enforcing. That I can replace gently there. Now I can go to a lower opacity, about 50%. And see what changes need to be made. That looks pretty good. And I can go to even a lower opacity and just fade it in very gently where it can handle it. All right. So I'm patching the holes, things that look weird. Everything should be contained on its own layer. So far, so good. If I need to do some extreme patching, I can use a tool that we'll learn a lot more about later, which is called the clone stamp tool right here. And for this little patch, if I erase something I didn't want to erase, actually, no, I think I could steal by holding down Option and target from one area and paint it in like that. But it's better to just erase from what you have. So instead, I'm going to take this element. There. Oh, no, I will need clone stamp because behind it are trees and something dark. So I'm going to go up to the layer on top and I'm going to clone stamp, stealing from the textures that are already there. Using my brush, soft edged, and just extend those textures a little bit. Very, very nice retouching tool. Okay, all of that's looking believable. We have a foreground horizon around these foreground mountains. And my back skyline is looking pretty good. We have to learn to not be too perfectionist with this first assignment, simply because it's a lot of new things we're getting exposed to. So I'm going to soften that transition a little bit. See, if it's not at 100% opacity, it's always going to leave a hard edge. But once you've softened that edge, then you can go to a lower opacity and blend in with more subtlety.